It is often repeated inside of Christian culture that we need to think of ourselves less in order to sin less, thereby inferring that too much thinking about ourselves is a source of sin, or at least a sinful thing. This is only sometimes true. This is one of those things inside of Christian culture that regularly gets repeated, but only has a little bit of truth in it. It's not that we need to think less about ourselves. It's that we need to think correctly about ourselves. Like Paul said, I believe it's Romans 12, let no man think more highly of himself than he ought, but let him think with sober judgment, right? So we need to think correctly about ourselves. That's the much bigger problem. How do we do that? Here's how you think correctly about yourself. Learn to imitate how God thinks about you. How does he do that? By using the law of love. God looks at you, at me, at every single one of us, and he makes all his decisions and his judgments and every one of his thoughts is based on and centered on his law of love, his comprehensive, all-inclusive, real law of love. Judging by that law, he thinks about us correctly. He knows exactly what's true, exactly what's not, in any and every area of our lives, what to do about it, including whether or not we need to think less about ourselves. Some people need to think more about themselves. It's just a fact, because everybody's different. So to just say that we need to think less about ourselves and more about others is shallow and incomplete. Sometimes that's the case with some people, but not always. What we need to do is imitate God as he thinks about us according to the law of love. How do we do that? By being in relationship with him. And as he communicates to us inside of that relationship, right, via the Holy Spirit, being led by his Spirit. Jesus said we would hear his voice 3 times in the book of John, John 10, right? So as we learn his thoughts about us in every single area of our lives, then we base how we think about ourselves off of how he thinks about us, according to the law of love. That's what we need to do. It's not as simple as just saying, I need to think less about myself. Thank you, and have a nice day.